Hey you guys, what is up? I have a PlayTCG.me match for you again. Unfortunately, I'm still using this Terrakion deck and will be for at least 3 more videos. I am going to change, though I really promise. I know I need to. I know it's probably getting old, and I apologize, but this is what I have backed up right now, and I should be doing Battle Road stuff after those Terrakion games, so hopefully some really cool stuff. But I am really excited because of the deck my opponent is playing, and it's something I've really wanted to get on the channel, but haven't really put a list together myself and don't really know how it works from an actually playing it perspective. I know how to play against it kind of, but I don't really know how to play it myself, and there's going to be some weird PlayTCG.me glitches here, and I get a mulligan and blah blah blah, or I think I get a mulligan. Oh, I was drawing for turn, but he's playing Ho-Oh, which is a really neat card. It's the first EX to have 160 HP, which is kind of neat. It has an attack that does damage based on the number of different types of basic energy you have attached, which is really neat, and it has an ability that works from the discard, which, as far as abilities go, and the black and white on format, this is a first. I'm sure there's been, some kind of power or something like that that's worked from the discard before. Maybe not, though. I'm not exactly sure. But he's going to grab out a Bouffalant, which is a neat little tech to put in there, and he's going to attach a DCE to it. He also still has 20 damage on his Ho-Oh, which I know I will, try and correct. That X-Ball does 40, DCs count as 2. And that's going to be his turn. I'm going to attach the Terrakion, just knowing that it's, the thing to do. I want to be able to start pump up smashing soon. And the sooner I do that, just the more energy acceleration I'm going to have. I know that I have an energy switch. I'm going to be able to go through resistance with my Rock Tumble attack, even if he does catcher me up. It also deals with Bouffalant pretty nicely if I can get just 2 more energy on it, because Bouffalant is a threat to an extent, and he's going to catcher me out now. And I realized that I think Ho-Oh actually has a 1 retreat cost maybe. I'm not sure. That's what it looked like. Oh no, he's a 2. Okay. For a second there, I was going to say that's another nifty thing about Ho-Oh, but 2 retreat cost, so it's 1 under bridge, which still isn't too bad. I mean, that's plenty payable, especially in a deck that's got energy acceleration is unique as its own. That's pretty neat. So I'm gonna attach the other energy, as he's just gonna keep attaching this Bouffalant, and I am more than willing to Rock Tumble and put 50 damage on this guy, even when he does bring up the this potential Bouffalant. I know I'll be able to just one-shot it back. Hopefully I'll hit a draw support or 2 just to come into a bunch of energy, be able to pump up smash that on my my Terrakion, and that'll just be a nice result. And so he's going to get out this Rufflet, which is a card I've seen in this Japanese list of the deck that I've kind of seen going around on the internet. I'm not super familiar with it, I'll admit it, but I do think it's an interesting tech. I know the Braviary has a 1 retreat cost. I still don't get its benefit against or versus like a Molga or something, but I'm not an expert in these things, but he's going to catcher out this Mewtwo again, so he's really catchered from one thing to the other and then back again. So kind of a funny series of plays. I think the Terrakion's probably the guy you want to go for in this situation. But I guess he knows I'll one-shot him back if I have a fighting energy, which is a little bit more scary. But at the same time, he has 3 energy on him, which will let me do 60 damage. I have a DCE, so I could do an additional 80 damage, which together is 140, which is exactly how much you need to knock out a Bouffalant when it is at full health. But at the same time, I know that I have a KO on that Ho-Oh if I catcher it out. I know he wants to get Ho-Ohs in the discard, but 2 prizes is better than taking 1 prize, especially EX format. I've always said taking an odd number of prizes is a bad thing. So that's just something to keep in mind for sure. So what's going to happen here is that I'm just going to go ahead and X-Ball for KO against that Ho-Oh. And because they only have 160 HP, I didn't actually even have to attach to it, which is sweet. I hit a Juniper off my prizes, which is even more sweet for when I do want to start just X-Ball, or not X-Ball, pump up smashing everything. He brings out the Tornadus though, which is probably my worst enemy in this case. He's kind of been a little bit of a pain to deal with in other matches. I know Bouffalant can help, and I do potentially have the cards to get out of Bouffalant, especially having the Ultra Ball and DCE in hand. I assume the play I'm going to make once I get there is that I will want to Ultra Ball for Bouffalant and attach to it for turn, since I'm already pump up smashing. I also have Nebulite, which I'm going to throw on Terrakion just because if I put it on my Bouffalant, I'll still get two-shotted. So I searched my deck, and both my Bouffalant are there actually, but I had trouble finding them both when I was actually playing that and just looking for them right now at that video. So I'm going to attach the DCE to it, which is great. I do, however, with the any fighting energy to try and attach to my Bouffalant, which is unfortunate. And I'm actually going to catch up his Bouffalant now, just because, you know, this card does really threaten me. I'm not going to do that much to his Eviolited Tornadus, 50 damage. If I'm not attaching, it's, I'm okay with taking the odd prize. Plus, if I hit a catcher at some point for that little Rufflet, I can knock him out and go back to an even number. So I take the cheap prize, and really the important thing is board control and taking energy off the board there. So now I have two Pokemon that both deal with his Pokemon fairly well. He's going to attach a Metal Energy to that Tornadus, which is, the really nice part about Tornadus Ho is just Tornadus can use anything. And he's going to bring me down to 3 cards off of an N, which I don't really like. It's a nice play. Late game or mid game ends are always good. But he only goes to 4, so I guess my situation isn't that much worse than his. I also get to draw a card, so really the card advantage when all is said and done is fairly even. It's a strange thing though. He also really doesn't have much board control, but to be honest, just because that Tornadus is Eviolited, it really doesn't look like my board position's that much better. But I am a lucky, kind of guy, and I'm going to try and Super Scoop Up, which is interesting. Okay, so I don't know if this is a play I would have made in retrospect. Pump Up Smashing is so important. I'm going to put the Eviolite and everything on the Tornadus. I don't see the point in taking energy off my side of the field, even if it does deny him prizes for a turn. I know I can play off this hand fairly well, but it'll still be another 3 turns or 2 turns and an energy switch or something like that until I am able to Pump Up Smash again. It's not a play I'm going to agree with, and he's going to Rebirth. And there's a little bit of PlayTCG.me glitching here. I've mentioned this as a thing before in past episodes, and I know it's kind of been a really annoying problem lately, and I'm really trying to avoid it, but sometimes I just can't. I also think Ho would really miss Shaman EX, or not Shaman EX, regular Shaman Celebration when Shaman, because that would be, super cool if you could just still mess with that. And he's going to play a bunch of energy switches, and he's going to try and KO me, and realizes his math is off. I also can't see all of his energy, or I think I can. So we have to figure that out, but he realizes he doesn't have KO, and I realize how dumb of a play I made. It's, why would I risk that? I didn't necessarily see that coming. But, he's going to do 80 to me, and I'm going to refresh to just, see what's up. He does have a bunch of energy types on him, and it was really close to KO, so huge misplay on my part in some senses, but, in another way, it's not going to make too much of a difference. I can't get over I did that though. Weird things happen sometimes, and I guess, I'm testing, I want to see what works. I'm going to drop a Terrakion, attach to it, and then I am debating the Bianca or the Juniper. I turn out to Juniper, which I don't see the rush to draw through cards. I just wanted to have another energy, so I feel like just attaching the energy and just getting ready for the Pump Up Smash would have been a better play. And unfortunately, I am forced to use a Goal Breaker, and I'm kind of looking at a bad situation here. I'm not going to be able to KO either EX on the field. I am at an odd number of prizes, so if I do hit the catcher, I can target the Rufflet, which is nice, but I kind of blew my own board control with that Super Scoop Up. And it's funny, the one time a Super Scoop Up actually hurts me is like the one time I hit it. And obviously that's not true, but I do notice, you notice more of the times you miss him than hit him, but it's funny that one of the few times where I'm, watching back, I'm like, oh, I hit the Super Scoop Up. I shouldn't have played it in the first place. But that being said, he's getting a bunch of energy on his Ho, and it's getting kind of terrifying at this point. It's a really fun deck that can do a lot of damage, and unfortunately I just don't have a Mewtwo in hand to deal with it right now. It'd be wonderful to top deck one or an Ultra Ball or really anything anything, but I'm going to end here just for 3 cards. And I don't really hit much of anything, so I'm going to Rock Tumble. It'll do 30 behind the Eviolite, which, you know, is kind of pitiful. But thankfully I've also brought him to a low number of cards. However, he does hit a random receiver, and, you know, I'm just praying for an N. You know, 3 cards is nice. I kind of miss what he hits an N. I know PlayTCG.me just glitches in weird ways like that sometimes. But, you know, if he plays that, all the better for me. I'm just kind of waiting for him to return his hand. But he's going to retreat because he's afraid of getting knocked out. And I think what he does here is promotes Sigilyph? Sigilyph? I think that's how you say it. I still haven't actually really checked on how to say that name. Or no, he goes up to Tornadus, which makes sense. You know, I'm not going to be doing a lot of damage to Tornadus. And I believe his moving that end means he's playing it, which I'm all for. I had, you know, a handful of nothing, and I hit a handful of pretty much awesome cards. So, we'll see what he does here. He does get off the Power Blast, which is going to put a little bit of pressure on me. It's 100 damage, so I'm really on a 1-turn clock. I'm going to Ultra Ball, try and get something on the bench so I don't get benched. Plus, I'm Junipering anyways. The Mewtwo is definitely a good play there. I only have 1 DC left in deck though, so I really need to hit several fighting or just something like that to make this an effective hand. But I kind of hit everything I could want and more. Okay, so I'm going to switch, and I like this play. Just getting Terrakion out of the way is good, I guess. I could have super scooped up at that point even. The other option was to pump up Smash, but that's really conceding a prize to him. So now I deal with the problem. I don't think he has a way to one-shot me, and I still have a backup attacker with energy on the board. Even if he KOs me, it's really not a big deal. And, you know, I have a pretty solid hand. I have an Ultra Ball that I can lower my hand with for Bianca and stuff like that. He's going to end me though, so now I'm dealing with a Sigilyph, but it's not a very scary one. He ends me down to 1, which is a catcher. And it's going to be my turn. I'm just going to catch Ropo and knock it out with an X-Ball for game. So that was a really enjoyable game. It was a pretty close one. I made some interesting plays that turned out to not be too beneficial for me, but I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you rate, like, comment, subscribe, do your thing, and I will catch you guys later.